Hey everyone, today I have a very slow flowing and deeply grounding practice for you. We are going to move our spine in all directions and get it nice and fluid feeling, and then we'll open up our hips, our shoulders, and even do a little bit of core work. So it's a really well-rounded practice for the whole body. And like I mentioned, it's very slow flowing. So if you need something to help you slow down, to help you relax, to help you just feel more anchored inside your own body, this is the practice for you. And I think you're really going to like it. And if you do, give it a thumbs up. So let's get to our mats and start practicing. All right, so we are going to start in a seated position to do a little centering. So you can sit cross-legged. I'm boosted up on a block. You could sit on your knees, but if you're really tired today, you could also just lie down. So choose whichever position works for you in this moment. And if you're comfortable closing your eyes, go ahead and let the eyes blink to close. And with those eyes blinking to close, beginning this journey inward to be with yourself on your mat for the duration of this practice today. And as you begin settling in, just noticing your body. And allowing the body to release a little bit. Maybe the shoulders can soften, or you could even rock around a little bit and find maybe some weight in those legs. Maybe even sensing almost like all the muscles in your body just kind of start to calm down, letting go of a little bit of tension as you just become more present, right, to this beautiful vessel. And we're just going to do a little tweak here to our attention. So as you're going inward and you're starting to attune to your body more fully, I want you to just be sensitive to what kind of quality your attention has. And bringing in some acceptance, compassion, allowing your attention to hold a quality of love and care and kindness, so that your body, right, your being really begins to feel safe and understand that it's allowed to be here fully, all parts of you. But we can kind of fine-tune that quality of our attention just in these initial moments when we are sensing into the body. And then noticing your breath and just feeling the breath beginning to flow in and flow out. And letting that smoothness of the breath just begin to invite a sense of calm into your system. So wherever you were at when you arrived at this practice today, letting the breath, letting this attention upon your body just start to kind of drop you down an octave, we could say, right? So you're starting to slow down. You're starting to invite greater ease in your system and cultivating more presence within you. So really simple, right? We're just arriving. We're settling in, giving ourselves a little bit of time and space to be here. Let's take 1 or 2 more breaths, just settling in. And of course, the mind might be racing quickly, or you might have a little bit of an amped up energy that wants to keep moving or doing, or maybe the opposite. Maybe you're feeling, as you sit and become more present with yourself, that you're exhausted, right? And you just kind of want to stay here and not move the body. It's all good, right? We're just noticing. So just take 1 more breath here, just breathing in, breathing out. And then if your eyes are closed, you can go ahead and just let those eyes blink open. So just taking a couple minutes to just arrive is really powerful. So even if that was all you were able to do right now, your whole system, body, mind, heart, soul, your physiology, your energy, your immune system, all of it received a little boost from that. So let's shift out of the seated position. I'm gonna have you come over onto your hands and knees. And let's take a stretch first back through child's pose. So you could have your knees a little bit wide apart and then walking those hands forward and bringing your forehead to rest down on your mat. And just kind of cozy in here into your child's pose, and you can always wiggle a little bit to get yourself into your sweet spot. But again, not really rushing anything here, just letting yourself come into this shape and begin to feel. Feeling your arms and your legs resting into your mat, your forehead heavy against your mat. Receiving the energy of this pose, which the energy is usually an energy that brings inner focus and the quietness or the calmness that you might perceive in a sleeping child. Melt your shoulders a little bit. Maybe even beginning to sense some heaviness releasing from your body. Maybe some emotional heaviness starting to shed off the body as you sink into this pose. Letting yourself be held by the earth, letting the body feel the support beneath it. Noticing the movement of the breath. And go ahead and just take 1 more full inhalation. Complete exhalation. And then when you're ready, you can begin to rise up, and we'll just come forward onto hands and knees here into a tabletop position. So your hands are going to be right underneath your shoulders and your knees underneath your hips. And we're just going to start exploring some movement here in the spine. So as you breathe in, you can let your back arch here. And sometimes it's nice to tuck the toes, so you bring the feet kind of into the flow here. You're going to arch the back, lift the chin, slide the shoulders down. And then as you exhale, just rounding out your spine, pointing the toes back, scoop the belly up and in. And then flowing with your own breath here. As you inhale, you can arch, and as you exhale, you can round. And if you need to take extra breaths, I'm moving rather slow in this moment. So if your body wants to move really slow, just go for it. Take extra breaths. Let it feel good. Starting to bring some energy flow along your spine. Awakening this lifeline inside of you. Maybe starting to loosen up the sticky spots. So we're going to keep moving like this in this cat flow or cat-cow flow, but allowing for a little deviation. So that might mean for you that you start to just kind of explore a little bit side to side. Or you could even start to circle out your spine. Think of drawing a big circle with your belly button or with your tailbone. And this could be really intuitive, right? So you might be moving the spine a little bit like a snake or in figure eights. How does your spine in this moment want to move to feel freedom? Let's do about 2 more breaths, right? Just kind of unwinding the tension along your spine, right? There's no wrong way to do this. It's really based on just what feels good, and you can always just come back to cat-cow. Good, come back through center, and then once more, let's just move back through child's pose. So just let those hips release back, and then sink down into your child's pose. Your arms could stay stretched out in front, or you could wrap your arms back alongside of you, whichever feels best. And just be at ease here for a moment. So just again, melt the body. Let your mouth and your jaw release. Feeling into any little shifts or changes. Take one more nice deep breath, breathing in and out. Great, and then rise back up onto your hands and knees. So this time, tuck your toes, and you're gonna walk your hands back, lift up your knees, and just come into a little squat here. And you can just kind of rest over your thighs. Giving those calves a little stretch, let your head hang. Again, just melting the shoulders, melting your back. Breathe out. And then with your inhalation, you can gaze forward. And then exhale, let's just extend those legs straight, let yourself hang forward. So you could shake out your knees a little bit here. You could just sway from side to side, right? And if the legs are really tight, bend those knees as deep as you need to. Try to dangle your head. And then let's come back into a squat here. I'm gonna have you breathe in, lengthen out your spine. And this time we're gonna take the feet wide. So you could walk your feet out almost mat width apart, turn the toes out a little bit, and then drop your hips nice and low. And if your heels actually touch the floor, awesome, you can just let those heels drop down. And you might prefer to have your hands lifted in a traditional yogi squat malasana, but you could try on walking those hands forward and just crouching the body forward. So letting the head hang. And just breathing, letting those hips begin to open. So every posture provides us with a little activation. It opens up certain flows of energy that can invoke different states of being within us. And of course, every posture just allows us to release some physical tension, right? But here in the squat, right, one of the activations that we receive is just a deep sense of grounding, coming into our physical bodies and being able to access the energy of the earth. And earth energy is really nourishing to our nervous system, calms us down. Good for the bones. So let's take one more breath in your squat. Exhale. Good, and then walk your hands back. You can let yourself kind of shift here and come back into a forward fold. Heel toe those feet in. We're gonna breathe out. And then on your inhalation, lengthen out your spine again. And this time we're going to come into our down dog. So I'm going to have you walk your hands out on your mat. And as you come into your down dog, right, again, finding some movements that feel really good to you, maybe pedaling out your heels, spreading those toes, bending and straightening the knees. And from downward facing dog pose, take one more breath. Just let your tailbone stretch way back away from the tips of your fingers. And then come into plank on your next inhale, shifting the body forward. So once you're here in your plank pose, if you need to, you can drop your knees down. Otherwise, squeeze your thighs tight, lift the knees, and press your tailbone towards your heels. And just think about shining your heart open towards the front of your mat, and you could even look slightly forward. Right, there's a little grape in your belly button you're squeezing. Take one more breath here, just feeling the muscles coming online, and then shift a little bit forward. Right, coming to the tips of your toes as you bend your elbows, hugging in and lowering down nice and slowly. Come to your belly. And just let your legs stretch back. Bring your forehead to the floor for a moment. And you can kind of tuck your hands in right alongside your ribs. And as you inhale, curl yourself up. Just into an easy cobra. Scoop the shoulders back, hug your elbows in, reach your legs long, and spread your toes. So you're going to try to feel your big toes and your pinky toes in contact with your mat. And as you engage your legs firmly, your thighs are lifting your kneecaps. And you're going to keep hugging and pressing your elbows in. Good. Now open up the back of the neck a little bit. So if you're squeezing really tight to lift your chin, just think about lengthening the back of the neck as you lift your chin. And then those of you that want to go a little deeper, just snug the hands maybe down halfway between shoulders and hips. Ground those palms, straighten your elbows as you rise all the way up into an up dog. And then we'll shift all the way back, and you can either drop your knees and take a child's pose, coming all the way back like that, or coming all the way up into your downward facing dog once again. Great, and then if you're in child's pose, go ahead and join us back here in this downward facing dog pose. And we're gonna lift the right leg, sending it up, giving it a nice good stretch, maybe bending the knee here. You could circle out your ankle and your toes. You're just being really mindful of giving those joints the attention they desire. Deep breath in as you stretch. And then on your exhalation, we're going to bring the right knee to the right hand. You're going to actually come into a variation of pigeon here. And you're going to just go ahead and drop that left knee down onto the floor. You can stay lifted up on your fingertips to start and just open up through your chest. And just beginning to let those hips sink. So if this does bother your knee, this front knee, go ahead and come down onto your back. You can take a sleeping pigeon, right? You can choose some other stretch to do in this moment that allows your hips to receive a little attention. And then you're just breathing. Breathing, feeling your body. If sitting upright like this starts to feel uncomfortable, just walk your hands out. We're not going to be here for very long. Let's take about 2 more slow breaths. And if you did fold yourself forward, walk your hands back, lift your chest up, tuck those back toes, and then transition yourself back into your down dog. And give your hips a moment here to just reset a little bit. Feel the palms of your hands opening wide, the soles of your feet opening wide. Hang your head. Slide your shoulders away from your spine. And again, try to press through those hands and feel your tailbone really drawing up and back away from the fingertips. Good, and then lift your left leg. So take your left leg up, open that left side, let it feel nice and yummy here. Maybe circling out your ankle. Breathe in. And then when you're ready, you're going to bring that left knee to your left thumb into your pigeon. And again, if possible, just let yourself stay more upright for this version. And your right leg, as it comes to the floor, you want to think of trying to get as much of your right thigh to release down, especially the outer right thigh releasing down onto the mat. So we're kind of squaring our hips off forward. And just breathing deep and letting the breath move down into the space of your hips here. So again, if your hips are really tight, right, this can be a pretty intense posture to do, but it's so nice to start getting these channels of the body open so that we actually can bring our energy all the way down into our hips, our legs, our feet, and again, become grounded. So if your back feels bothered by that or your hips need a little bit of a release, you can tip more forward. See if you can breathe out and let the weight of your body kind of find the floor beneath it. And we'll just take 2 more breaths. Good. Keeping the jaw relaxed. Breathe in. If you're tipped forward, walk your hands back. Right, tuck those back toes. Lift your hips. Slide back, downward facing dog. Again, maybe pedaling out your heels just to bring some balance back into those hips, letting them reset into this new alignment. Great, and then on your next breath in, go ahead and come to plank pose once more. And again, just kind of zipping up the front of your body. So you want to push through the hands, squeeze the navel in towards the spine a little bit, tailbone towards the heels. Thighs are really active. Your inner thigh is trying to lift up towards the sky. And then draw the shoulders down your back and let your heart shine forward. Good. Now on your exhalation, let's just drop the knees. And then I'm going to have you bring your right elbow down onto your mat and then your left elbow down onto your mat. And let's interlace the fingers here. And I always take this bottom pinky finger and just slide it into the palm so you're not smushing anything. And then you could stay here and shift your hips a little bit forward so your shoulders are stacked over your elbows. Or you can come into a full low plank, lifting the knees and trying to flatten out your body here. So extra abdominal work holding this, as well as really the whole body. Plank pose is such a full body workout in many ways. So holding here, and again, if you need to, just tap the knees down at any moment. Otherwise, squeeze and hold your glutes. You're hugging in through the abdomen, your thighs. Let all of your muscles come online and engage and squeeze the bones of the body. I'm shaking a little bit. You might be shaking too. That's a good sign that things are being turned on and activated. Take one more breath. Good. And then exhale, let your knees come down. And then wiggle your way to your belly and come down all the way to your belly. Nice work. And then walk your elbows out. Let's just cross the hands one over the other and then rest your forehead down. Take a few deep breaths. You might feel your heart beating. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so when you inhale, you can look forward, and we're gonna do just a little shoulder stretch here. This is usually called shoulder rollover, and it's more of a yin posture. If you've experienced yin poses, you are really stretching open the joints and holding things a little bit longer. So for this pose, you're gonna take your right arm and extend it out directly in line with your right shoulder. Then you can push down into your left hand, and you're gonna push yourself to roll right over onto this right shoulder. And then your head could just rest, and if you happen to have like a block, you could place that underneath your head or a pillow. And then you might be wondering what to do with this leg. So you could do lots of things. You could step the leg forward. You could let it just stack. Maybe you bend your knees. Or you can take this top leg and step it to the floor behind you if that works. And be gentle. This can be a really deep stretch. You really want to make sure that your right hand is in line with your right shoulder. So you don't want the arm stretching more upward or downward. It's directly out in line with the shoulder. And then the nice thing here is that you just get to release. So you just get to melt the body into the floor. You'll want to bring some breath into that right shoulder and into the right lung. And sometimes I like to kind of, after I've been here for a few breaths, I wiggle my right fingers and try to kind of walk them out even further away. So I'm opening up maybe a little bit more through the front of that right shoulder. And then if you're comfortable and you want to even try taking your left arm, you could stretch that one back behind your low back here, right? You could bend your left knee and see if you can grab your ankle or your foot and kind of kick the knee, or kick the foot, I should say, into the hand so that your knee is being drawn away and you're stretching a little through the thigh. Do the best you can. And as you're holding here and melting the body, see what can release. So what else can you let go? Or where do you notice yourself holding on to tension? Where might you be able to become heavier in the body? And can you really receive the stretch and let it feel good? So let's take about 2 more breaths here. And then you're just going to gently begin to release that foot if you have it, or if your arm is behind your back, just bring it back to the floor and then let yourself roll over onto your belly gently. And sometimes it's nice just in between sides, you can cross your hands once more and rest your forehead down. And notice, so let yourself just take in the sensations in your body, notice how you're feeling. Maybe noticing the difference between the 2 shoulders. And sometimes there's a really tangible sense of lightness that you can start to feel in the body, which is a really beautiful thing. You're in your body, you're grounded, and yet you feel light and open and free. And those are the feelings that we're kind of going for in a lot of ways. So take your left arm now, stretch it out. I'm just going to scooch myself over so you can see the stretch. And then again, you can use your right hand, press into your right hand as you roll yourself over. Check the alignment, do the best you can here to line things up. And then maybe that right foot will just come to rest behind your body. And you can keep pushing into your right hand for support here. Remember, you can extend that right arm up and wrap it behind your back. And the side will feel a lot different than the previous side. This is a different side, so you might be tighter. Maybe it feels more open and comfortable. And just begin that letting go process again. So as you breathe out, your body becomes heavy. Melt where you can melt. Notice the neck and the shoulders. Try to release the gripping there. Again, you might always, as the body starts to open here, you might be able to take up more space. Maybe you can walk your left fingers out a little bit, feel the front of that left shoulder opening. And then you could see if you can grab hold of your right ankle or foot. And if that doesn't work for you, you could keep that leg again straight. You could have your toes to the floor. Sometimes people even just bend the knees. So I'm showing some of these different options. You decide what kind of challenge your body is ready for today. Let's take about 2 more breaths on this side. Just see if you can get heavy. Let the body release into the floor. When you're ready, really gently, if you've got your arm behind your back or if you're holding your foot still, release and let yourself begin to roll back onto your belly. Oh, it's a really awesome stretch. You can stack your hands, rest your forehead on your hands, and again, just take notice of any sensations. Just kind of neutralize the body here in this position. Go ahead, breathe in, lift your gaze, and then scoot your hands down alongside your ribs, and you can just roll yourself up into a cobra or all the way through your up dog, right? Maybe there's a little fluid movement here in your up dog, just kind of stretching things around. And then all the way back through child's pose. So again, you can separate your knees as wide as you'd like. Your arms could be stretched out in front or back alongside the body. And you can always stack your head here too on your hands. Take a couple breaths. One more breath here. Breathe into your belly. Feel your back expanding. And then exhale out. Good, and then when you're ready, go ahead and just breathe in. You can rise back up onto your hands and knees, and then we're gonna scooch around and come down onto our backs. So you can lie on down. And as you arrive on your back here, go ahead and just let your knees come into your chest. Give yourself a little squeeze, little rock from side to side. Full breath in, and as you exhale, feel your spine imprinting itself down into your mat. And then let your arms come out in line with your shoulders and drop your knees over to the right. Nice, easy stretch. You could rotate your gaze over towards this left hand. Maybe the eyes come to close. Take some breaths, focusing on your spine. Massaging the spine, nourishing the spine, the central nervous system being calmed down even more as it receives this attention. Good, and then breathing in, lifting your knees back up through center. Let the legs drop over to the opposite side, gazing towards your right hand. Shoulders heavy. Just get a little bit mushy here, right? Let your body sink and breathe in to the spine. Imagine your breath kind of visiting all parts of your spine and just coaxing out any last little bits of tension that are ready to release in this moment. And then when you're ready, you can just breathe in, lift your knees, bring them back up through center. Release your feet to the floor, and let's stretch the body out for a short shavasana, relaxation. So when you do stretch yourself out here, take notice of what the body needs, and if you're cold, if your temperature is dropping a little bit here, put a blanket over the body. Or if your low back is tight, you can roll up a blanket and slide it underneath your knees. And then your arms can be out to the side or anywhere else. So I'm just choosing to rest my hands over my belly right now. Let your eyes come to close. Maybe tuck your chin just to lengthen out the back of your neck. Again, finding that kind, caring, compassionate attention upon your body right now. So your attention is perceiving, observing, acknowledging your body in this moment, just from such a sweet place. Inviting the body to feel safe in this moment, inviting the body to feel cared for in this moment, nourished, and like it's in good company, right? You and your body are together for the duration of your life. It's your most intimate partner. And yet we often have a lot of clashes going on between ourselves, our awareness, our attention, and our bodies. And so right now in this moment, we can remedy that clash a little bit. We can resolve it and come into right relationship with ourselves. Kindly observing yourself with love, compassion, acceptance, with kindness. And just feel your breath flowing in and out, letting both feet, both legs, both hips relax, letting your pelvis, your belly and low back, and your whole rib cage and your upper back release, relax. And then both shoulders, arms, and hands softening as they drop down, releasing into the support of the earth. Feel your neck, your head, your face even softening, relaxing. And just enjoy this quiet place as you notice your breath gently flowing in and gently flowing out. And maybe you want to stay resting. Maybe you'd like to extend your Shavasana today and really give yourself some good time soaking up this peaceful place that you've cultivated inside yourself. But if you're ready to move into the rest of your day, start to stretch through the toes and the fingers. You could circle out your wrist and your ankles. Stretch the whole body. And then just ease yourself off to one side. Rising up, coming into a seated position. Just grab my little block here so I can sit comfortably. And again, maybe you're back in the place that we started today's practice in, and you can just allow your eyes to close again. And as your eyes come to close, sense your body, just like we did in the beginning of the practice, and just taking notice of how you're feeling. And you may not remember the places inside your body that were feeling maybe a little blocked or a little tense or achy. But if you do have a remembrance of that, check in again and notice if anything's changed. And just keep that breath flowing. And then if you'd like, you could rest your hands over your heart, over your chest, maybe bow your chin a little bit, and in your own way, just saying thank you to yourself, to your body. Thank you to the breath and to this moment. And the gift of having time and space in your life to just show up and cultivate inner alignment, to become more centered, to become more grounded. All right. Thank you so much for joining me for this practice today. I hope you are feeling amazing, a little bit freer, a little bit lighter, and a little bit more grounded as well. I will see you next time. Namaste.